My name's Stephen Blair. I'm a magician, I'm an entertainer and a booking agent.
What is a normal week like for yourself?
There's no such thing. It varies, so like sometimes I'll be performing at an event that's the other side of the country, maybe in Edinburgh or maybe further north, and then maybe later in the week I'll be doing a gig that's 5 minutes from my house, that's for 20 people. It just really varies depending what comes in and depending what's happening that week.
What's the strangest gig you've ever done?
I've done some really strange ones. One recently was in a gym, so it was basically an all-female gym, and it was the anniversary of it opening, and they had booked me, a caricaturist, and we were doing the entertainment, and then halfway through my act they went, "Right girls, let's get ready," and a legs, bums and tums class broke out. So I started magic when I was 5. My mum bought me a magic set, and magic's basically the hobby that I've always been into since I was young. Like when you're young, you always, whatever your parents give you determines kind of what you do throughout your life. So if I got a guitar, I'd be in a band. If I got football, it could be Ronaldo, but I got a magic set, so I decided to become a magician. And my kind of love for magic faded away when I was kind of starting to go into secondary school, because I felt magic's not cool anymore, because it's just playing with toys, and I got to that age where I never wanted to play with toys anymore because I was too cool for that. So I got back into it because there was a guy the same year as my brother, who was a couple of years older than me, showed me a couple of wee tricks. And then I watched a programme called the Convention Crasher, which had Justin Lee Collins, where he basically had to go to different conventions. So he went to a magic one, he went to a clowning one, juggling. He had to try and win the competitions. And I saw kind of adults playing with toys, and I thought, that's pretty cool. It's not as frowned upon as what I thought, so I then just got back into it. Pulled out the old magic kit that I had, started doing that, and then started slowly learning some other stuff. The first trick I ever learned to do was, I think it was a card trick. It was a really, really basic card trick. I think I was more impressed with how simple it was rather than the actual trick itself. So I think the style of magic that I do is, magic's secondary. Everything that I do is about interaction, making people laugh, playing off the audience, and just kind of providing a good time, and magic's the vehicle that helps me do that.
So Stephen, how would someone who wanted to get into magic start learning the craft and joining that world?
So magic, weirdly, is one of the most published things in the world behind religion. So there's so many books on magic, so when I say magic, it's like your card tricks, your coin tricks, but then you also have hypnosis, you've got like mindfulness and witchcraft, and it kind of dates back years and years. But the first ever magic book was a book called The Discovery of Witchcraft, where basically they exposed witches, and it turned out they were doing magic tricks. To get into magic, you can always, there's magic websites that sell magic props, or physical shops that sell magic products as well. But I'd also kind of look at maybe a local magic club, because there's loads of magic clubs all over the UK, all over the world really. I think a lot of magicians get into magic because they like the attention. Like, I certainly liked that. At school I had a bit of a rough time, but when I was doing magic, people forgot to give me a rough time, so it made me kind of relevant for 3 minutes. And then, I think a lot of magicians have that as well. It's an ego thing, it's also a thing that they enjoy doing, and they want to share it with everyone. So I think it attracts a certain kind of person who likes attention, and a lot of magicians will sit and fiddle a lot, so whether that is attracting people with certain personality traits as well, I don't know, but it could be that they might be anxious, so they're sitting playing with cards because that's kind of helping them. Fidget spinners became a thing. We were doing card tricks on buses before that and solving Rubik's Cubes just for fun.
Stephen, how do you find audiences tend to react to your performance?
Normally the audiences kind of enjoy what I do. Understand magic's not for everybody. I'll perform different magic for different kinds of groups. So there's certain tricks that I know that work for young males, young females. There's tricks that kind of work for older people. There's tricks that work for kind of your more kind of macho lad kind of men. And then there's like obviously tricks that work for families. But people seem to kind of like what I do. I think over the years I've learned how to kind of tailor it to suit that particular audience. So I've always enjoyed close-up magic, but I think because I can carry that on me, you know, like I can go on a night out and have a pack of cards in my pocket and I can entertain people. I can do a full like event with like literally out of my pockets. I also enjoy kind of doing the stage stuff where it's slightly bigger because it's everybody at the same time having the same experience, whereas close-up is kind of creating a unique experience for each individual small group of people, whether it's 4 or 5 people.
Have you ever had a magic trick go wrong?
Very regular and probably more than I should admit to. But it's all about when it goes wrong, sometimes it can make the trick better. So you may have something fail or do something wrong, but then you fluke and something happens and it's like 10 times better than what was meant to happen.
How much magic equipment do you own?
Too much. Next question.
How do your family feel about what you do?
They're really supportive. Like my mum's always kind of, when I was younger, she was always kind of happy to take me places and help me pursue the career that I've decided to go down. Like everybody's been supportive. They'll come to my shows. My mum once came to a show, got drunk and heckled me, which was really good fun. Gave me 10 minutes of material for my next show. But yeah, everybody seems to enjoy it. They've been quite supportive about it. So to come up with the themes, I think of things that I like outside of magic. So certain music, I love wrestling. I like certain kinds of films, and then I take things from that have maybe inspired me and I go, I want to recreate that on stage in a magic show. So I'll then take that theme, look at tricks that might suit that, things that might take me to my end picture or the vision that I've got, and then I'll script it with Tina and come up with things like that. Sometimes I work backwards where I take the trick, I go, I want to do this trick, and then I go, what can I do with that?
Why should someone hire a magician for their wedding?
So with weddings, people always seem to forget that there's a lot of hanging about. People remember there's a ceremony, there's a meal, there's a reception, but they never think about the bits in between. So my job as a magician is after the ceremony to go in and keep the guests occupied whilst the bride and groom are away getting photos, or to entertain the guests as they arrive for the evening reception whilst your day guests are having the meal. People think booking a magician, oh, he'll come do tricks, but it's not about that. It's about acting like a relationship manager between the bride and groom and the guests. So for example, if there's something like a delay in the kitchen, I can go in and entertain the guests and the guests aren't aware of that. The photographers, maybe he sees there's going to be a good shot and it takes him a little bit longer to get that shot, but it's an amazing shot for your wedding album, then my job can be to go in and create the illusion that the time has disappeared and the guests have been entertained. Also creates a fun and welcoming atmosphere and will help break the ice and really sets the tone for the day and gets people kind of to know each other a little bit better, because it's the first time that a lot of the families will have met. So everybody thinks being a magician's like rock and roll and amazing, you know, you're travelling the length and breadth of the country, you're meeting everybody, you're doing these amazing events, but what people don't realise is there's always the hustle to get there. You know, like when I started out, I'd done a lot of nightclub gigs, done a lot of music scene gigs, I'd done very low paying gigs, I've done free, unpaid work. But, you know, like, these are what's made my character. So my character is very, you know, confident and bold, and that comes from kind of working in the nightclubs. When I first started out, I remember one of my first gigs, there was a guy that was kind of watching me, and I'm like, why is he watching me the way that he is? Turns out I was taking the attention away from him. So people go to nightclubs for 2 reasons, well, actually 3. To meet women, to have a good time, or to meet women and have a good time. So I quickly needed to learn that my job wasn't to do magic and be like, look at me, look at me. It was about making this guy look good. So I would take something, place it in my hand to make it disappear, and rather than me doing the magical gesture, I'd say, you do it. Oh, how good are you? And put the limelight on them. I think that's why my style nowadays is very much, it's about the guests and making them look good, and I'm there, I'm assisting with what's happening, but it's about the experience that the full group's having.
What are some of your goals, career-wise and as a performer?
So when I started out, I thought, I want a Las Vegas show, I want a TV show, I want to like travel the world, I want to do this, I want to do that. But as I've got older and kind of more like experienced, I now just want to enjoy what I'm doing. I want to continue what I'm doing. I want to expand my business, whether it's my own self as a performer or my other business in possible entertainment. I want to also, there's some shows that I want to put on. There's various smaller goals, but I just enjoy what I'm doing at the moment. I want to do that, but maybe a bit more bigger scale and a bit more fun. So Impossible Entertainment is an entertainment agency, and we provide variety entertainment at weddings, private parties, corporate events. So we've got various variety artists that work for us. We've got stilt walkers, fire eaters, magicians, jugglers, comedians, pretty much any kind of entertainment you can think of, we can provide it. So Impossible Entertainment are proud to present the Delusions of Grandure magic show at the Webster's Theatre on the 1st of October 2022. It's basically a full night of magic entertainment with the 6 best magicians from all over the world. And it just so happens that they're all Scottish and kind of local as well. So the 6 acts are people that have travelled the world performing in their own field within the magic world, but they're coming together for one night only. So for example, we've got people that have performed in Finland, Spain, Australia, Las Vegas, Saltcoats, Stevenson, you name it, they've probably been there. So each act is totally different. We've all been around the world performing at our own events, but we're coming together for one night only. For example, we've got Mandy Fletcher, the Enchantress, who will be performing a little bit of Danger. We've got Elliot Bibby, your magical MC, who will be in charge of making sure that the evening goes according to plan. We have Fraser Stokes, who is a character-based performer who is performing as his alter ego Hamish, and he does a beautiful sad clown with a lovely emotional story. We've got Stephen Blair, the One Trick Wonder, which is me. I'll be performing my unique blend of comedy, magic, mind reading, along with some one-hit wonder songs. We have the great Aziz, the Birdman, who is quite good with the birds. You'll need to come to the show to find out what that means. And we've got the mind magician, Andrew McKinley, who will be reading your mind and showing you some skills that you probably never knew that you had. So I've got a YouTube channel where during lockdown I was kind of bored and I needed a project, so I decided to make 2 or 3 videos about kind of things to help magicians. It was things from a working magician point of view, because there's a lot of content out there on what tricks should I do, but there's never the real world advice where, you know, like when you're travelling to a gig, what should be in your bag? You know, why should you have a deodorant in your bag? Why should you have a comb? Why should you have chewing gum? So I always thought, you know, I'll make a couple of wee videos, do that. Then I started doing, when things started to open up, I started doing more kind of vlog kind of styles where, you know, I'd take the camera with me to the gig and let you see kind of what life as a working magician's like. So there's advice for magicians, there's an insight into working, kind of the working world as well.